collaboration is incredible. And collaboration is, the new relationship commodity in relationship to having impact and meaning to our interactions with each other. But I think solidarity is even one step maybe grander.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Art of a Meaningful Life. And I am Carmen Davailus. I am your host. And this is the place where we talk about ways, challenges, successes in learning to live a meaningful life, which is, I think, what it's all about. And I'm delighted today to have my guest, Ms. Deb Drummond. Hello, Deb. Deb, I don't know if this introduction is going to do you justice, so we're going to get to more. But Deb is an entrepreneur. She's the founder of the 262 Movement and Summit for International Women's Day, and media personality, not just a speaker, but media personality, author of #1 books, and mom. You are also a momager.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. And on a personal note, Deb, you and what you bring has just impacted my life in huge ways. And it's a delight for me to have this chat with you today.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be invited to talk to you and your audience.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So, I want to talk about a meaningful life, obviously. And I want to, when you look at what you've done in your life, how do you define a meaningful life for yourself?
Yeah, that's a world question. When you were telling me about the name of your show originally, it reminded me of that really beautiful song by Louis Armstrong, like just, yeah. And it really reminded me of that because it has this resonance of the underlining, right? The unforeseen, like the meaningful life. And I think when you look at a meaningful life, it's really a compilation of all the meaningful times that you've had. So for me, in terms of what makes me happy, what brings me joy, what makes me feel, what's the new thing, right? But regulating your nervous system, is really probably the biggest relationships for me, and those are with my kids. And so if they're okay, a big part of me feels okay. That's really my baseline for a lot of, when I'm doing measuring or, using it as a barometer, like, are the kids okay? Kids are okay. I'm okay, no matter what's going on. So a meaningful life, I think, for me, it is that compilation of the things that had great meaning for me at that time. And it just kind of energetically adds up to where you are and what you're doing. For me, it's really important that I have meaning to what I do in my life. I have meaning when I get up this morning, and maybe it was a little earlier than I wanted to because I was monitoring and packing for Ocean's trade show last night and having a shower at 9:00 at night and going, maybe I should have some dinner, but I know I have meaning in my life because I've activated my passion. I braved up, couraged up, whatever you want to call it, crazied up, whatever. And I know that what I do has impact, and that makes me feel like there's meaning to my work. Yeah. I don't know if that answers your question in a simple form, but it's I think life is kind of poetic, really.
Well, I love that. I don't know if there is a simple answer, honestly. I think as we evolve, what was meaningful, like for me, maybe in my 20s is different than 30s and 40s and so on. Or I see things differently. And even this morning when I was getting ready, I was thinking, meaning in work, meaning in personal life. And I'm like, as an entrepreneur, I don't really have a huge distinction between personal life and my work. I don't really think of it as work even. It's because it brings me so much joy and I'm excited to do it. And there's no way that can't be a part of my personal life because, and plus I work here, down the hall from.
Yeah. It's like, oh, Gotta go to the office. Hang on. Oh, look, it's been 2.5 minutes. Here I am.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and where can you wear like sweatpants and a top and okay, this works. But it's that blend between, and I think I really love this because for decades I got ready, went to work, and as much as I loved my career, it was something separate from my personal life. And then it was like get in the car, drive home, phase two, and it doesn't feel that way anymore. And it's a blend so much. And
I think it's when you embody, honestly, I came back from a long day yesterday. Like we did a solid 12. Like we did a solid 12. But, it's a good feeling, and I came home and I needed to talk to a friend. Not like needed to talk to a friend, but I'd said I'd call a friend. So they're like FaceTime and he's laughing. Like he's laughing and he's like, "Do you take holidays?" And I go, "I do." And he started laughing because he's the same, right? And it was just one of those days. And I said, but that's what happens, I think, when you embody something that you love and adore. Like maybe I do 4 hours of my day today. Maybe I like, and it all kind of has this it doesn't matter feel. Like it doesn't matter. Like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So if I'm listening to a podcast while I'm getting ready in the morning, or I'm, you know, brushing my teeth and dancing at the same time, and I need to be at work in 4 minutes and it's right next door to my kitchen. I mean, who cares, right? But it's that when it embodies you, um I think is what you're talking about, and definitely what I experience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was and interestingly, it was a really weird to as I'm transitioning more into that, right? It has been a transition. At first, it felt really bizarre. Like, well, and then to have so much joy in what I was doing, it's like, this can't be right. This feels like happiness all the time. And yeah, I'm tired, but it's a good tired. Is there such a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, right? There is. I think back as we're talking, I think about all the, you know, what people used to understudy. Like when I first started learning Ayurveda, when I was, pretty absorbed in the holistic health world for, a good long time, and studying with your, mentors. And you think about how people learned the family business and how they understudied with people and they moved to countries to learn a craft and to really understand it and to really envelop it and really embody it and work on your mastery of your life in relationship to how you're gonna lay your passion out. It's a very different way of thinking, and it extends past time, right? It's supposed to be joyful and it's supposed to stretch you. Like it's supposed to, it's all those things that it does. It does. I always, and people do a lot of comparison, I think, because working 9 to 5, if we can sing a little Dolly Parton, was such a it was such a part of culture for a long time. But I think it became a part of culture. I don't know if you go back to when people used to do their craft, and so here we are, we're in this hybrid blend of people that do and people that don't. And they're like, wow, that's so hard. I can't believe it. You're working on a Saturday. And I'm like, that's so hard. You have a boss, and neither are wrong, neither are right. But I think it's right for that person. Um, and that's, I believe, where we are in this world of this hybrid of being able to follow your passion. But I don't think anyone gets away from heart. I say pick your heart, pick your joy, pick your heart.
Yes. 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 Yeah. I mean, yeah. I won't. I kind of think of it in terms of, and I see you, and I'm reading through your bio, right? And I'm like, yes, you do, you do, and achieve, but then it's really more about who you are in that world, right? So that's the foundation, like who you are in that. No matter what you're doing, it's who you are, and well, life is like this, right? Up and down. You're gonna have the joys and you're gonna have the not so much joys, the difficult stuff. And it boils down to who you are when you're in the midst of that.
Absolutely. And it's funny, even sometimes I look back at my accolades, but I'll tell you, I always say, I know, I feel, and I remember earning them. Like they don't drop out of the sky because you've been doing something for 30 years. Those were, you know, when I decided, so, I have some accolades of being in Success Magazine a few times. And I remember as I was building them, right? And I remember as I was building that, that was not even on my radar. It was, I'm not to diswarrant it, but it wasn't the goal. My kid needed to get into a school that was particularly a school that really served his needs. I was a single mom. It was $32,000 a year for the school. So my goal was here. And in looking to achieve that goal, I ended up hitting massive numbers in the company that I was, launching and helping launch. And it wasn't my company, it was someone else's company. And that was a result of having this, very clear focused goal on getting this kid in this school. And so it's like, when people say, oh my God, enjoy those young years with your children. They go away really quickly. Well, I had two kids. My son slept his first night through when he was 8 and my daughter was 5.5. Now, why I ended up with 2 non-sleepers, I think that was the universe's way of saying, I know you wanted 5 kids, but check this out. So I was like, two. But, I remember I go, I don't know if it's me or anything, but I feel like they've been in my life that long. You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't know if it was the sleeplessness, but I think for me, when I look back at anything in relationship to accomplishment, I can go, yeah, I remember stretching. Yeah.
And interesting point, because I've recently, well, I realized that if somebody asks me, like, well, what have you done? I have a hard time remembering some of those accolades. And it's like I was there and then just kept reaching without stopping to enjoy them so much. And I thought, really don't want to do that. I don't want to I want to wallow in the joy. Like, enjoy that. And I started writing things down, and then I thought, just like what you said, Deb, it represents this journey of the challenges and the work, but with my eye on the prize, right? Whatever it was at the time. And for me in this phase in my life, it's about having a voice and having the courage to speak up, which has been a huge, like you speak when spoken to. And if we want your opinion, we'll ask for it. That's how I lived. Yeah. Like many of us, right? And so to be 67 and to say, you know what, I'm going to speak for what I want to say and learn to do that. Lots of challenges in that, and the courage and confidence to get up there and do it. And so when I look at those, whatever it is, a summit that I do with you, I look and I think, look what I did. That took a great deal of courage. That's what I celebrate.
Absolutely. I have, as you know, I have a private clientele, and when we get to certain times, and maybe it's the quarter, or maybe it's mid-year, definitely at the end of the year, I do it for myself. I've done it for a long time, is write out all of the accomplishments. I have an accomplishment book, Oceans Now in Business. That's my son, as you know. And at the end of the year, we made a list of all the accomplishments that we had achieved. Because sometimes you can look at your bank account and you're like, it wasn't worth it. Sometimes you look at where things are at in your life, maybe wherever, your health or your spiritual connection, or I barely meditated, or, oh my gosh, I didn't tend to this, or, the garage is still messy and it's December and I wanted to do it in January, or whatever. And you take a look at this list and you're like, holy cow. Holy cow. First of all, it puts your expectations into check. Second, you accomplish more than you think, because I always tell people, write down the steps as well. Like, oh, I got an award, or I was on this, or, I got to come onto Carmen's podcast. Like, you have to write those things down, right? You have to write those things down. And as you do, sometimes it's great to have just that sense of accomplishment. I do something like, so, in my past life, I used to get a lot of awards, right? Because my world was recognized in that way. And so I have, this is going to sound a little bit gauche, but it felt gauche. I have probably about 22 awards that, like glass awards. And, sometimes I'm like, oh, what am I going to do with these? And then I'd put them aside. And then I would wake up and go, put them on your desk. Like, it's not like you're, parading them out in the living room or something, right? But put them on your desk. And then there was a time where I put them on the living room because when I'm in there, I get to see them. And I had to remember and to remind myself that those are big deals. Like they're big deals. They're not just a couple of pictures and you throw it up on social and you put it in your bio and you do all that. It's like you need to remind yourself. I've had a beautiful piece, like I said, for me, kids and baseline and are very, I have like one of my biggest awards. I'll show it to you. So this is an award. I hope it doesn't fall apart. And this was for me just a representation. So this was a piece that my daughter made in a multimedia art class when she was about 8. And she kind of forgot to put the top letter of her name there. And it's been on my desk and has been like kind of my biggest award because I just remember that time that we were, well, she was exploring her first experience of art and just how it was really one of those powerful moments for me. And she made this for me for Mother's Day. And I thought, I've always kept it on my desk because that too is an award. That too is a recognition of a lot of darn work, I got to tell you. She's a sweetheart. But, there it was, I was like, okay, that's in my little awards section over there. For me, I'm a visual person. So I kind of try to keep things in my world that reflect back to me. Like even things like this rock that I painted when I went on a meditation retreat, just reminding myself, like I'm kind of more symbolic, maybe like I got a big picture of Janis Joplin and you two over there, like just symbolic. And those remind me, for me, that's very much how I keep myself, I don't know, self-recognized or something like that.
For me, it's like being grounded in what is, I guess, meaningful, right? I have, similar to you, I'm symbolic, and for me, one of the greatest joys of being a parent is seeing my son be a parent and watching how he is with his children. And the first time I saw my son with his little boy on Christmas Day and how he was, it still makes me want to cry. It was just so beautiful. And I thought, wow, job well done. He's a good dad and he's loving and so patient and so kind and respectful. And I thought, okay, sometimes, you don't know along the way, like were all those lessons learned, were all those examples picked up. But when you see your child with another, or as a husband, right? I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, no, I'm not done,
Oh, no, we're not done.
I think a strong parent, and in my case, I was a single mom too, so a strong mother is such a greatest gift and my greatest joy and my biggest job of all. And
It has, right?
yeah,
I know. For anyone who's a new parent out there, we won't tell you that, they're like, whoo, can't wait till they're out of the house. So I'm like, mine's out of the house and
and now they're
I work for him now.
right, right, and even my achievements now, I think, great. Well, speaking up, for instance, and I look at my little granddaughter and like, I don't want you to grow up in a world where you're afraid to speak up. So watch grandma, watch, you come from strong women in your world, in your family, and hoping some of that seeps over, and that she doesn't have those experiences. And
No, absolutely. Well, as we change, so does the world, right?
yeah, 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 and keeping track. And I want to do a quick shout out because I recently started. This is something you designed, Deb.
Oh, I just love that.
Calendar, and every week there's a place there to document people and relationships that you're looking to form, to grow or to touch base, and successes. And I make sure and take the time to do that every Sunday. I write, because otherwise they're just like gone, and I'm on to the next week, and last week is a blur. And There are so many new people, and especially through 262, I've met so many new wonderful, wonderful people. I wish we all lived close together. And I'm making sure to keep track. And
I love that. You're talking about the part where like you recognize someone and then you also get to recognize yourself and self-observe. And I think that, and particularly for someone like yourself, because you are by nature kind and you're recognizing people all the time and you're saying please and thank you and oh my gosh, that was amazing. But I think even for those of us that are, empaths or caregivers or have had to work on our codependency maybe a little bit, I'll take that one. I think when you actually do it as a focused, like it makes you think you're like, who do I, you love on people all the time, but who do I really want to recognize this week? Like who did like, and it also helps you reflect and go back and go, wow. And then sending that message that, sending it, texting it, buying it, shopping it, whatever, makes, yeah, it's a good feeling.
very good. It's a blur otherwise. I mean,
It is a blur.
it's a blur. I mean, we're doing great things, but then there's stuff all the time, and I just didn't want to lose track, and that's helped me a great deal. So
Oh, well, thank you. That was the intention of building it.
yeah, I'll put the link in there for all because you're going to want to take a look at that. Not just to plug them, but I'm just saying I love it.
No, no, no. I mean, I think we all, when something helps us in our life, we talk about it, whether it's a good restaurant or a good movie or a good album. I mean, I should be earning my own Grammy with the amount of music that I share with people on a daily basis. I'm like, this is amazing. Oh my gosh, I found that. I'm like, seriously, there should be a Grammy for, biggest outside contributor.
Yeah, and as you were saying that, I thought, that's a part of it. That is highlighting the things that we love that have helped us and the people who have helped us, which I really think is a huge part of what you do. You're bringing amazing women together. I'm going to talk about the summit in particular, coming up March 7th and 8th, and you're bringing an amazing group of women together. And I can say that with no doubt because I've met so many now and had the most beautiful conversations. I mean, when do you do a podcast and you're talking to people you've never met and we're all like wiping tears away because we've been vulnerable and shared stuff with people and because it felt that safe, and it was, yeah, like how I wish we were in person for that. And what was I getting to there, Deb?
Well, I think we were talking about recognizing each other. And I think this beautiful community, I always say to people, there's something very special. And I know that every community has their special, right? And I believe that what makes this one really special is that the common theme is about a global impact in relationship to International Women's Day. But what I think International Women's Day means, which a lot of people don't probably get, I mean, the name says International Women's Day. So internationally, we're celebrating women. But really, it was to encourage solidarity, meaning that we are one. And I always said that if I had a party in my house and it was a networking party, that there'd be people in the living room exchanging business cards. There'd be people having drinks in the dining room, having a glass of wine, and maybe going on each other's Instagram or LinkedIn or something. And the 262 sisters would be in the kitchen and they'd be like, what's going on? What do you need? How, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, and there would be like this gathering of oneness. And collaboration is incredible. And collaboration is, the new relationship commodity in relationship to having impact and meaning to our interactions with each other. But I think solidarity is even one step maybe grander, where that I am happy to help you. Carmen, you could call me and I could, answer some questions about your business or, oh my gosh, or what do you think of this or website advice. But I know that I'm not just helping you, that there's kind of this higher picture that I believe that's kind of the undercurrent, so that, yes, I'm helping you because I love you and adore you. And that's cool. And we're in this party together. But there's an understanding that when I help you, I help many that I will never meet, because you're going to go and you're going to go impact people I'll never, ever, ever meet, in this small world that we live in. And so there's kind of like, when I help you, there's some woman in Poland that had an easier day today, or we're going to have an easy day today, or so something just happened, something flowed. Like yesterday I had a conversation flow and it turned out, beyond my wildest dreams. I was like, wow, didn't expect that today. And I was like, woo, that was some other sister in some other part of the world that eased my load today. Rock on, right on.
I love that thought. I love that thought. And, one of the things I always like to close with is, what does success look to you? Right. And I think you just said that, right? That it's that beyond collaboration. And wow, I hadn't stopped to think about the exponential, but no doubt, no doubt. Like, even following the podcast I was just telling you about, there were 5 of us, and I've been on a high for a whole week. And I'm editing and getting ready to post it, and I'm on a new high now. I'm getting ready to put it out.
That's why we watch things over and over and over again. I mean, am I the only person that watches like The Holiday or Leap Year or like these movies like Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley? I mean, it's just so, the cinematography there is just so enveloping. I feel like I'm swifting away and I'm back in that era. And I think that's why we watch and we return, and why we return to relationships and conversations. And I think what's really cool is that when we meet here, like when I met you, I knew there was a whole lot that was going to continue to unfold. You just know that when you meet somebody, you're like, there's something special. And I do think it makes for a meaningful life. And I do think it makes for kind of like how, when I shared in the beginning, how my life is a collection of meaningfuls. And I think success is the same way. Like, I got a great text from someone this morning. And, it's interesting because even someone from the outside would be like, oh, you got it going on and everything's good. Everyone, no matter how successful they are, is needs connection and needs confirmation. I had a conversation 2 nights ago with the woman who owns the Terminator and Matrix franchises. And right. And I'm like, you getting on the screen, and so we're going to be together at this event on March 15th, the big, book launch for us down in LA. And we were having a conversation, and I told her my story, and she's like, oh my gosh, wow. And she told me her story, and I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, and she had to, anyways, long story short, because I know that we're at the end of your show, but she had actually written those books. I mean, she is an incredible spiritualist. This woman could talk and read fluently by 3 years old. She could imprint, she can astral travel, she can do all the things. So she had written those books. Anyways, after those movies won 4 Oscars, she was like, okay, enough already. Those are mine. Now, here is a woman who put herself through school, who's like journalism degrees and double law degrees and all of that on her own accord, went, And she went up against 5 Hollywood lawyers. She had a lawyer and she went up against 5 Hollywood. You can imagine Terminator and Matrix. Think about that conversation and how much that was. It was a $500,000 legal bill. She won $2.5 billion in liens because they warranted that she actually owned those franchises. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Having a conversation. Now, I'm in awe. She's like, I can't believe what you've built. We both were impressed upon each other's impressions. And 90% of our conversation was not about that, was not about this. We just found a spiritual connection and started exploring a conversation about things that we had experienced in our life that were, spiritually inclined. That was our conversation for an hour and a half. And so I think it doesn't matter really, doesn't matter what you've done or what you haven't done or what you this or what you that. But that was just a heartfelt conversation that was mind-blowing, hopefully for her as much as for me. And
but carry that, right? I went, in studying and reading, but then just living, the thing for me that I believe for me personally is the power of being present. And when you're present with another and to hear, I think that message comes through. It's safe to say what you need to say, right, to each other. And to just be present without thinking, what am I going to say in return, or what story do I have? No agenda. It's like, let's talk and see, let's just talk and let me just listen. Let me just be present and listen. And what greater gift. And that's where the magic happens.
I completely agree. It's really and to get back to your question around success, is what does success mean? I mean, I think we all, or I can speak for myself, there's things that I need and I want in my life, for sure. And there's things that I need, like money and health and friends and coaches and all of that to get me there. That's an obvious, that's clear. And when those things start to come into play, I mean, that feels successful. I had a goal, I wanted to accomplish it. It did what it was supposed to do. It didn't do what it was supposed to do. It did more than it was supposed to do. It doesn't really matter. I think the sense of accomplishment and goal achieving for me is important because I pour so much energy into obtaining that experience or that like 262. Like, I mean, it blows me away when I hear and see some of the things going on, right? That's like, okay, so it was worth it, you know? So I think success, you know, it doesn't get lost, but it's a word that I think needs stopping and, like you said, pausing, because there's always more. That is kind of the nature of the beast. It can be conquestial, you know? And if you're halfway through your goal, sometimes success feels so far away that it gets daunting and it gets tired. And that's part of it. It's like, you know, yeah. And I think for entrepreneurs in particular, that success can feel elusive, or success can feel difficult, or success can feel tiring, or how am I going to achieve that? Because you don't know how to do all the elements that it takes to get to that end goal. But I think once you're on the successful journey of being an entrepreneur, that you understand that those things will in an interesting way work themselves out. And to be appreciative of the steps that you are taking in, even if you're not at that final piece. So I think, you know, I mean, for me, I think the highest outside of the health of my children is my health. Like, am I in a really good physical state? Am I in a good mental state? That's such a big deal. I think if you've ever had a health hit, you know, I was at the Emmys last year and I got a health hit. Like, I got so sick I couldn't go to the friggin' Emmys. And Melissa was like, put this dress on. You got to go. I was like, wow. It was always like, okay, it's a bit of a wake up call that you're like, for me, it has to be. I've always said that this is the most important piece of real estate you will ever own. So I don't know why I went down that tangent. Obviously someone needed to hear it.
I think so. I need to hear it. In working so hard, sometimes the last thing that should be my non-negotiable is my physical health. You know, getting out, going for a walk, and how important that is for my mental health too. I call it a mental health walk, and sometimes it's like, okay, I'm gonna go for my walk, and like, oh, it's already 9 o'clock. What happened? I just get lost in stuff. But truly, if you've ever had even a time where maybe it was hard to walk, you twisted your ankle or something, how much you appreciate the ability to go for a walk around the block. I mean, and that's a small piece. And so, very good point, and something I'm personally working on.
No, me too, honey, me too. Like, me too. And that's part of being passionate. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm this or I'm that. And, and doing what you can within what you can, and knowing sometimes it's all down in one area and some other areas take a hit, per se. It's just that remembrance and then coming up with solutions that like help you do that. And I have a friend of mine, I'm like, you need to get, I want to do a marathon in 2027. And I'm like, I couldn't do 8 blocks right now, and they're like, okay, so that's when it's easy to get lost in love. Yeah. And what I mean by that is when you love your business or you love it, it's easy to get lost in love.
Yes. And there are times when it gets, crazy, busy, long, and then you got to come out of it and get back with it. And that's where I lose track. Then I just keep going and like, it feels so good though. Look at it. I know. Well, Deb, I cannot thank you enough. You've just had so many wonderful nuggets of information and some goosebump moments for me, which is always a great thing. That means I know you've touched a lot of people's hearts too. And we will have all of your links and information on how to find you. And if you're interested in any of the things we've talked about, you'll be able to find those. So
Thank you. I appreciate you too. I can't wait to have a piece of your art hanging in my house soon. We have to make that happen.
we do.
Yeah, we have to make that happen. So let's make that happen. There you go. Before the end of 2026, Deb's going to have a piece of art on her wall. It's not like there's not 1,000 pieces that you do that I love. I mean, honestly, there's some gorgeous horse pictures that you do that are just outstanding. I got to get one.
Thank you. Well, that's easy to make happen.
That's easy. Yeah, we just both have to have time. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
I love you. I'm so grateful you're here. And we'll see y'all next week.